is Pang. I'm from Malaysia and I'm doing an MA in Gender, Sexuality and Culture at Birkbeck. I chose to study at Birkbeck because I heard about its reputation through friends who work in UK. To explain why I chose Birkbeck, I have to give a little background about what just happened in my life. And basically, I run an art center in Malaysia, and also at this art center, one of the program that I founded with some friends is called Sexuality, which is a sexuality rights festival. Anyway, the event in 2011, which would have been our fourth annual festival, received some amount of protests by certain conservative groups in Malaysia, and as a result of which, the police banned the festival. When the police banned the festival, it became national discourse. I mean, the whole country was talking about it for months, and it actually made me realize that whether we like it or not, the festival, or rather the discourse that we were hoping to create, has now been taken to the next level. And there's a scholarship that was offered by a British High Com, which is actually the Chevening Scholarship, offered by the Foreign Commonwealth Office in UK, and a lot of my friends have actually received this scholarship in the past, and the ban of the festival gave me an opportunity to take a break from the festival and reflect. And when I asked friends who are in UK about which institute then should I apply to, they recommended Birkbeck because it has well-known activists who are working here in this field. People like Matt Cook, Lynn Seagal, who are well known in feminist and queer activist circles. And that was very important for me because I didn't want to come to a place where I'm just learning theories from people who have no real world experiences of these theories and this application. And it seems to me that Birkbeck has that kind of teaching staff that are very involved in real world applications of their theoretical understanding of gender, sexuality, and rights. The thing about Birkbeck that I found very interesting was it's realistic in its scope. I think there are some universities that will offer the course in a more international scope, that will look at the problematics of international relations with regards to gender and sexuality. But in Birkbeck, the focus, of course, is very much to do with the history of the movement in UK itself and in Europe. And at first, I did think that might be a bit limited for me. However, now having actually gone through the course, I found it very useful to have a very specific case study. And it was also very interesting that it was not, the study itself was very self-critical, and it helped me to understand how positions or privileges create certain problems within activism, and all that was found in this course, which I thought could be very useful for me to take back to Malaysia. And so for international students, I think that kind of perspective is very useful because it gives a very good case study, and it also helps you to understand that some of the things that we have adopted within our own countries actually have a historical cultural context. Birkbeck has one of the leading advocates on the decriminalization of HIV transmission, and it's so amazing to be able to hear firsthand from someone who's working in that field how our understanding of gender and sexuality permeates into everything, including this area, and it made the course very exciting. It became a very intense experience to know that I'm changing so much about myself. Therefore, I really needed a space to stay that I could manage all this in small quantities. I could manage my fears. I could manage my the changing of my life's direction. And I was hoping to stay very near the college and in town and all that. But it ended up that I stayed in Zone 3. In fact, I stay in Zone 3 at the border next to Zone 4. So, up in Bounds Green. And how I found that place was that a friend of mine, in fact, my former boss from Malaysia, she now lives in London. And this was where she stayed formerly. And she just moved out, and her housemate is looking for a new housemate. And she recommended me to stay there. The great thing about this place in Bounds Green is that it's actually a lovely neighborhood and suburb, and it's quiet, which means I get to study quite calmly. I stay in the back room with a view of the garden, which is also very lovely. And it's on the Piccadilly line, which means it's only 20 minutes on the train and 5 minutes from the station, 5 minutes to college from the station. So I get to college in half an hour, 35 minutes max. And I'm very lucky that the place I stay, because it's in Zone 3, is also very affordable. And it has allowed me to be a little indulgent in the quality of the groceries I buy. Because I've been forced to learn to cook. I've never cooked very much before this, and so now I'm cooking. And outside of the course, I actually spend a lot of time going for shows, as well as conferences or seminars. I think that some of the discussions that are available in UK are not going to be available when I go back to Malaysia, and so I make it a point to absorb as much as I can. In fact, I maybe shouldn't say this, but for me the priority is not to score very well in the course. Of course, I mean, everybody likes to be able to get a distinction at some point, but I'm not so bothered by that, because the aim for me here is to absorb as much knowledge as I can, philosophically and politically, or rather politically, when it comes to the philosophy of politics and its theory and all that. UK is positioned very interestingly between US and the continent, and so it actually becomes a melting pot of these different ideas that you have access to, and you can discern for yourself which is good and relevant to you.